Check, check, chickadee, check, check. What up, what up, what up? All right, getting that microphone going. It's Jason Zlatkus. How is everybody today? Still adjusting the lighting. I tried something new with the lighting, and I don't know that I love it. Each week after week, we're seeing what's up. See that? I just got caught on me. Oh, man, I don't know if I like this at all. What is going on with my film frame? What is going on with my film frame? Okay, here we go. Let's see what's up with that. What's up with that? Okay, you guys like that on Saturday Night Live? I love that skit on Saturday Night Live. I just realized I'm standing on my computer here. Give me another moment. Welcome to Coffee Breaks Thursday with Jason Zlatkus. I, of course, am your host, Jason Zlatkus. Who cares what you call the show? You guys are hysterical with that week after week. Excuse me while I move this speech bubble that is Facebook. What are we gonna do with you? Anyway, let's get to the show. Welcome to Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zlatkus. Like I said, who cares what you call the show? Week after week, I do the show, and I try to make sure that you guys know the name of the show. That's like part of my thing, is that I want you guys to know the name of the show is Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zlatkus, but you guys call it all kinds of stuff, man. I was on the Coffee Talk with Jason and Warren. I was on coffee breaks with Jason. Like someone today told me that they go, oh, a big fan, a really sweet lady, and she said, I really like Coffee Breaks some things. And I said, I didn't respond, of course, but I thought to myself, Coffee Breaks some things? Like, you guys, it's literally the day it's on and my name. Like, that's it. And I keep saying it so that hopefully when you're on the show or whatever, you'll tag it as being on Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zlatkus. My lighting is changing as I speak. Actually, I don't know if that's good lighting. Is it natural lighting? Is it bad? What do we got going on here? We're not going to worry about it too much. Maybe I'm shiny. I don't know. Whatever's happening here. Oh, it's been one of those days. It's been one of those weeks. It's been a fun week. Let's talk about what's going on. Last week, we had a great show last week. It was it was a blast. I don't know. You got to watch the show. Week after week, you got to watch the show. That's the thing. Because there's stuff on there that I can't do again. And I'd love for you to see those jokes. But last week's was a really, really good episode. Okay. To our guest, I see that you're ready. Can't talk to you that way, so it'll be a little while. And if it's going to be one of those days, you guys, on Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zlatkus, it's going to be a Thursday. The deal is that last week on the show, my guest was Pete Gerard, and what an amazing guest! What an amazing perspective on things. On life. I really encourage you to watch that show. But some of the stuff I talked about early on in the show was that there's places in the United States that you can visit dead bodies. So following along with that topic, today, if you happen to be in Washington, D.C., you can visit Bob Dole. Bob Dole's dead body is on display in the Capitol building. So if you are in Washington, D.C., you're watching the show from Washington, D.C., get on over there, man. Pay your respects. So, I think that'd be pretty cool. If I was over in Washington, D.C., I would go see that. So shout out to Bob Dole's corpse. And this is the only show you're ever probably going to hear shout out to a corpse on. Does this lighting make me look tired? Does this show make me look tired? Okay, so let's talk about a few things that I want to talk about this week, because you guys know how we do. You guys know that that's what we do on this show, that we talk about crazy, wild stuff. Now, not a lot happened to me this week. Not a lot happened to me. I hate the lighting. I can't get over it. Not a lot happened to me this week. Basically, for me, December's been kind of slow. It hasn't been, gosh, the lighting. Of course, this is going to be my big episode where everyone in the whole world sees it. Oh, hey, I wonder if I can do that. Oh. Did we just discover it? Anyway, all I'm seeing now is how exhausted I look. You guys are going to know, you look great. You look just like Ben Affleck. Yeah, so I heard that a lot this week too. You guys know that I look like Ben Affleck. Did you know that? Did anybody ever tell me that I look like Ben Affleck? I wonder if I can use that as a joke. Did anybody ever tell me that I look like Ben Affleck? This week I heard you kind of look like Ryan Reynolds. I kind of heard you look a little bit like Dak Shepard. And then people have these other guys I've never seen. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of dudes who look like me, man. like why me? Like, oh, I'm an aspiring actor. I'm trying to get on screen. And I'm like, why take me when you could have Ben Affleck? Because you don't cost as much. Right. Thanks for that one. So, anyway, moving right along. It's all good, man. It's all good, and we all have our place in Hollywood. And there's a lot of pie. There's a lot of pie in Hollywood. So whatever. Speaking of Ben Affleck, we'll talk about him actually in a few moments. We're gonna talk about something else first. My kid at my kid's school. So the kids come home and they tell me these hysterical stories. And one day this week, this week they came home and she told me, my daughter said that they had a vote in their government class. Speaking of Bob Dole, speaking of government, they in their government class they had a caucus, like they did a vote basically, and I thought, oh, wow, they're going to get political in the government class, but they managed to not. They made it all these people, and it was like Taylor Swift and I don't know, probably The Weeknd and a bunch of these pop culture people like, Bieber and all these other people, but Ariana Grande. And so they told me, my kid said, you'd be happy to know that Metallica won. Metallica won the vote. And I was like, you're kidding. All these kids, all these high school kids are doing this vote at school, and they voted Metallica to be president. So so I don't know, man. You guys are like, yo, the youth is lost. The youth is lost. If they're voting Metallica to be the president, that's not lost. You guys feel me? That's pretty amazing. So it came down to, and here's the part where they kind of lose a little bit. It came down to Ariana Grande and Metallica as the two. So Ariana Grande was tough. She was up there. Oh, Blake Shelton was on the list, I guess, and a bunch of other people on the list. But Metallica won, so I thought that was really good. And so I thought that was great. Something that did happen to me this week, though, that I got to do was, so rest assured, Metallica. The future of America is safe. I think there's probably more, just a guess here, but the future is more likely in the young people than it is in the older people. I mean, I don't know. That's a hunch. That's a hunch that the future lies in the young people. I don't know. That's just a feeling I have. So maybe that's wrong. Anyway, speaking of feelings, I got to go to the Magic Castle this week. If you don't know what the Magic Castle is, let me tell you. It is this. It's basically it's magicians. So first of all, it's magic. It's not like the Magic Kingdom where you go to Disneyland and it's it's all make believe. It's magic, so it's legit. It's real. So we went to it, and the Magic Castle is this historic building. I think it was built in like the 40s, and everything in there is built from old Hollywood movie sets. So we're sitting at a bar, and you're not allowed to take pictures, and it's exclusive only. You have to be invited in. We were lucky to go. Shout out to my friend Pasher and Jennifer who brought us. Who got us in, and also to Warren Davis, who got us in. He's the member, and Warren Davis invented Q*bert, so I was lucky to be his guest at the Magic Castle. So, like what you don't understand is I had like a mind-blowing experience this week, and so for me it was like being a video gamer and a fan of magic. Going to this place was unreal, and you go to these magic shows. You go to different magic shows, and they do them in front of you, and it's an adult place. It's all adults. It's black tie. You have to have a jacket. You have to have a tie to go in there. This is like the exclusivist place. And they do up close magic. They do stage magic. It depends on what theater you go to. It was really unbelievable. Like it was so amazing to be part of this. But the bar top we were sitting at, to go back to that, was from the set of Hello Dolly. Like the front of the bar was used in the movie Hello Dolly. So things in the building are from Hollywood sets. It was unreal. To be in this place and have magic shows and to be the guest of such a prestigious person. So this week for Toy of the Week, I was going to show you something cool, but my wife said, Jay, you got to show a magic trick since you're going to talk about the Magic Castle. Now, I've never done a magic trick. I'm glad to see our producer, Warren Madden, is here. Warren, I don't think our guest quite knows how to get on. Of course, it's not ready yet, but she's communicating to me through my personal DM message box, and you ladies stop doing that. If you could get her to come on to this part of the show, I don't know what happened. Anyway, I'm going back to the story because Warren, the producer, handles this stuff. Warren Madden, shout to him in Florida. One of the people. Oh, she's here. Oh, my bad. I didn't know you were here. Anyway, don't talk shit about the guest, Jason. That's terrible. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. I don't talk shit about the guest. I probably do. Nothing is off limits, my kids learned. Anyway, let me tell you, my kids have learned my kids have learned that jokes have to be about something, right? So anyway, the point is that my wife said to show you a magic trick, but I didn't have a cool one, okay? But I have this, and I'll show you. Now the deal is this is an empty tube, okay? It's an empty tube. I don't have the entire trick. Okay, so, and I don't know why it came with these rings, but what I love about this tube is that it's from the 50s. This trick was originally from the 50s, and I just love having it because it's really cool. Now, ideally, what would happen is you would put, you would show the audience that it was empty. You would put one of these lids on, and you would put the other lid on here on the, and you would stuff 3 handkerchiefs into the top. Now, I don't have the 3 handkerchiefs. That's what I'm saying. And I looked around. I was going to get a napkin or some kind of other handkerchief that I had, and I couldn't find one. So the idea is that I would stuff the, like a blue handkerchief in, and then a white handkerchief in, and then, a purple handkerchief in, and then, I would just go, I would, go, oh, look at this, is it great? And show you, put my fingers in and, show you there's nothing in there, that kind of thing. But I don't have the handkerchiefs. So there's no way that if I had them, it would be really cool to just sort of, see, that's what I mean. I don't even know what this does, but it would be really cool to just sort of pull them out of here if I had them. And like I'm saying, I really don't. And so, it's only a partial trick. I mean, it's only, I couldn't really do it for you. So anyway, there it is. I hope you enjoyed that. It might have been a really cool trick if I could have pulled 3 handkerchiefs out of it. But like I said, I didn't have those. So anyway, moving right along. When we got to go to the Magic Castle, we also got to go to, and I'm going to get right to our guest, you guys. Our guest today is fantastic. When I say I'm going to get right to our guest, it's coming up. But our guest today has been in more movies than I can even go through. I had to choose very carefully what to ask about because there were so many films on her IMDb. She has more movies in production that are coming out than I've even been in. So like, stay tuned. She's great. Sheri Davis is coming up. But we went to the Magic Castle, and before we went there, we went to this place called Pink Taco. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's, a bunch of famous people have been there, and it's right down the street from the Viper Room. And the Viper Room, it happens to be a famous nightclub. Johnny Depp has played there. It's also the location, and here we go. This is the lead into Handsome History. It's the location where River Phoenix died. So, which I thought was really interesting. Now, I didn't go over there and take a look at it because it's a famous gutter, and we all know what Los Angeles looks like. It's a famous gutter. So I decided to not go actually see the Viper Room. But this week, speaking of another famous death in Handsome History, this week is the anniversary, of course, of John Lennon's death. And John Lennon, as you guys know, was shot December 8th, 1980. But something I thought was also, I decided to tell you guys a fun fact about John Lennon. John Lennon was, as a child, almost blind growing up. He couldn't see. And he was ashamed. I learned a lot about John Lennon being ashamed. He was ashamed of his nose. He was ashamed of a lot of things. So imagine you're John Lennon and you're ashamed of anything, right? I mean, other than Ringo as your drummer, what's there to be ashamed about? And so this guy was, when he was a kid, he was ashamed of wearing glasses. Then he sees Buddy Holly. And Buddy Holly, of course, rocks the darkroom glasses. And he begged his mom for a pair of darkroom glasses. And of course, you guys know after that, John Lennon is rarely seen, specifically as an adult, not wearing glasses. It's something he needed. So I don't know if you knew that, but Buddy Holly inspired John Lennon to wear glasses. So there's that. Also this week, and again, here this is the part where we're going to talk about. So Pearl Harbor, of course, was also this week, as you guys know, December 7th, a day that'll live in infamy. And so shout out to Cuba Gooding Jr. for thank you for saving us all, Cuba. We appreciate you. So this show is dedicated to the heroic bravery of Cuba Gooding Jr. in saving us all. But Did you know that when they dropped the nuclear bomb, oh, those wacky scientists, when they dropped the nuclear bomb, they didn't actually know the math as complete. They hadn't really worked it out yet, and did not know if they would potentially ignite the atmosphere. They thought they could potentially set the world on fire with that, and they still dropped it. So there you go. Hey, enjoy that fun fact for the day that science brings you. Hey, you know what? Let's take a shot. What's to risk? If it sets the whole world on fire, who could lose on that? So there you have it. That's Handsome History, brought to you by me. So we are going to get to our guest, who, like I told you, has an illustrious career, and we're moving right along. I hope my segues were good this week. I'm working on segues. Is that good? Let's see if I can work this out here. All right, we're gonna get to this. Oh my gosh, I can't see a dang thing. All right, that doesn't say I can bring you on, so we're gonna send an invite, and we're gonna see what happens. Remember, guys, once I send the invite, it's out of my hands if you can accept it or not. And so we are looking. There it is. Okay, I'm sending the invite now. Let's hope. And that's going to be it out of my hands. We're going to see if we have a show. We're going to see if we don't. And if we don't, I'll just ramble some stuff off. And the truth is I have a whole bunch of stuff I could talk about, but whatever. I could tell you some more Handsome History stuff. The first speeding ticket. Some of you guys are going to be traveling this Christmas. Oh yeah, you know what I was thinking too? I think I'm going to do a show next week and then not do one the rest of the year. I think I'm going to move the show we'll start back up on in the next year in 22, because I think I'm going to take a couple weeks off. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll see. I mean, maybe you guys want it, maybe you guys don't. You could tell me. I must have my coffee breaks Thursdays or whatever it's called. The Jason Zlatkus Hour. Call it that. Call it that. If you're going to mess up the name, call it the Jason Zlatkus Hour. Call it the Jason how do you say that? Zlatkus. Am I saying that right? Call it that hour. So, hey, Warren, if you're still out there, I sent her the invite, so we're just waiting for her to come on. But let's move right along. The very first speeding ticket was issued for a guy going 8 miles an hour. That's true. He was whisking through, I guess it was London, and he was flying through London, and he, at 8 miles an hour, he was flying through London, and they pulled him over, and they said, you can't do that, and you owe us money for it. And so he was the very first speeding ticket, going 8 miles an hour. But the first official written citation was for a guy in 1904 going 12 miles an hour. There you have it. 12 miles an hour in 1904. So that is another fascinating fact, I thought. So make sure when you're out there, not getting a speeding ticket for going 12 miles an hour. And the thing about that is that to me it's all relative. It's one of those things. It's speed is relative, right? So at this point, we're going, 70, 80 miles an hour, and I think I'm flying, right? Like in LA, I'm going like 80 miles an hour now. Well, not in LA, but around it, like for that little part where you pay on the toll road, and then you can go. There's like 4 miles where if you're willing to pay, you can go really fast. So when I'm on that, and I'm doing like 80 or something, and somebody will go by me at like 100 miles an hour, and I'm thinking to myself, what a crazy fool! But can you imagine somebody flies by you at 12 miles an hour? I mean, if everyone is walking, I guess 12 miles an hour is pretty dang fast. Like if everybody's walking and the kid on the skateboard is going faster than everybody, that's when people are like, oh, so you know what I mean? At what point, is it relative? So that brings me to another thought that, and you guys were waiting for Sheri Davis to join the show. I've sent the invite out, and that's all I can do now. This is this is why we try to do the test on Wednesdays, which I saw that Warren did. Producer Warren Madden. But it's all, everything is relative. So here's, oh, Sheri is now watching. It says bring them on camera. There might be a possibility I can do that. Let's see if I can make that happen here to get our guest on, and I can stop talking about the next topic I was going to talk about. It says bring them on camera. Invite her to join you on. Yeah, I guess she's coming on. Let's see what happens, you guys. Coffee Break Thursdays with Jason Zlatkus. Take yourself a break with Jason on Thursdays.
Oh my God.
There you are. A lot of hoops to jump
not
through.
in a good position, but let's see. Sorry.
It's all good. You're not the first guest to struggle getting on. We're thinking about moving the show off of Facebook for that reason. But welcome to the show, Coffee Break Thursdays with Jason Zlatkus. Glad you're here.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. So let's get right to it. We're seeing a little bit of an angle here still. I can see your ceiling a little bit, which is okay if
Oh wow.
a lot of our guests are very proud of their ceiling. Last week we saw Pete Gerard's lights. So
you should just see my headboard.
oh, is that what it is? Okay, so that's an illusion then that's throwing me off. It looks like an angled wall.
I'm not on the ceiling, Jason.
It looks like an angled wall. See, it looks like that's, wow, an illusion, you know, it's magic.
I'm on my bed.
Yeah. So, okay, so you are in Texas currently with your parents. Is that right?
Yeah, my mom has cancer, has metastatic breast cancer. So I am here helping take care of her. So yeah, not for fun reasons, obviously, but yeah, that's what I'm doing back in Texas. I just, need to be with my family right now.
Right. And are you still are you in the city that you were born in? Because I read you were born in a small town in Texas.
I am. Yeah. My most of my family are in Texas and Oklahoma. So it's kind of Texas-Oklahoma border, big lake ranch. It's a ranching town, about 3,700 people. It's pretty crazy because someone saw me walking in and pulled in my driveway, and I've had old friends from school bringing me gifts and housewarmers. It's just very different. It's small town Texas, and that's how it is. But my dad's actually got a little cowboy church here in this town too. So my grandfather was the sheriff here when I was a kid. Like, everybody knows me and my family. So it's pretty different than LA.
Okay, so wait, so you're in your childhood home then?
This is not my home. I actually, because I knew I was going to be here a lot, I actually got a townhome here as well. So I just moved about a week ago here, and then I have a room in LA. I'm kind of doing the LA thing that's different for me, so now I'm kind of home base in the South, but I'm going back and forth to LA. So I'm kind of doing what I did for about 6 years, which is kind of backwards, but I actually have a lot of work in the South. There's a lot going on down here, and it's kind of nice because it's, it's a different vibe, different pace, that kind of thing. And I think just saying, oh, when you're from different areas, it's like, oh, that actress has lived in LA. She's done the LA thing, and now she's back here. It's crazy, but just saying you lived in LA, you did that lifestyle, you auditioned all the time, you worked on big budget things. I think it kind of gives you a leg up being back in the South. So I've only been back here a couple of weeks, and it's already, like, my career wise has been great for me.
Okay, so I did want to ask you about that, but let's talk about before we get to how wonderful it is going currently. I mean, obviously you're not there for a wonderful reason, but it's good to hear. And I last week Pete Gerard told on the show that he's dying from stage 4 cancer, and so it seems to be coming up a lot lately for me, which is odd. Anyway, forgive me for that moment, but anyway, I lost my train of thought. I went somewhere in my own head, and I never, it's just become a very serious issue for me is all. And so, I understand what you're going through, with parents that are not maybe at their peak, physically. But I wanted to ask you before moving to how great your career is at the moment, what was it like when you're leaving there to go to LA? Are people like, a star is born? Are they like, are you like, was there like a parade and you're like, I'm going off to the, magic land? What was it like?
I was so private, and I still am very private, to where no one knew. Like, I had already been, I didn't live here. I lived in Dallas. I lived in a very uppity suburb of Dallas, which is where my kids went to school. And I was very quiet about my acting career because I was a nurse too, and I still am. So my worlds did not work well together in Dallas at all, because I would be taking care of a patient at the hospital, and someone would Google my name and all my acting stuff would come up. And then they'd be like, can we have another nurse, because we don't think she's really a nurse. And then people here didn't take acting seriously, the layman person, someone that's not in the business. So it became an issue. But I already had so many friends that were in the business before I was ever in this business, that for me, I was already going back and forth to LA. So I was pretty established out there. My oldest daughter, who's an adult now, was a child actor. So I had made a lot of connections. Yeah. And my ex was an actor. And so I had made all these friends and connections. And I was such a business savvy person that I just sat back, kept my mouth shut, and I kind of took in everything that was going on every set that I was at with my daughter or with my ex. And I went to a lot of the events and got to know a lot. You know how it is. I mean, you have to like network your butt off. And especially if you're not a big A-list actor, it's a lot of it's about networking as well. So I mean, so no parade, no nothing.
So,
I left this town when I was 17.
okay, so you weren't yet at 17. You weren't yet heading towards acting.
No,
So, but what I heard is
no,
is
no.
what I heard is you don't play a very convincing nurse. That's what I heard? So
I've actually played a nurse and doctor a lot. No,
I often get the doctor
that's
right.
not true. It's just a matter of it worked well in LA. I could do both. I worked a lot in Beverly Hills and whatever. In LA, everybody's involved somehow in the business or knows someone in the business. It's just a different world. So it was fine in LA for me to continue to do some form of nursing. But in Dallas, no way. No way at all. Like I said, with social media, with Facebook, I would get to know people's families really well. I actually worked oncology at one point for several years, and I would get to know the patients' families. The patients were what we called frequent flyers, so they came all the time, and I would know their families. And they'd be like, "Oh, I want a friend request you on Facebook. Sheri Davis, actress, producer, director. Is this you?" And Nurse Sheri has fun and no makeup, and is there to do a different job. So yeah, it just no parade. Now that I'm back here, and I've been pretty quiet about being back here, but like I said, I was literally like pulling into my driveway, and one of my friends from back in the day like pulled into my driveway and was like, "Oh my God, I thought that was you in your dad's truck." And the next thing I know, she's bringing me housewarming gifts. She just left and brought me like peppers from her garden. I mean,
Wow. So you're a nurse, but you also have a degree in psychology. Is that right?
right.
And do you perform?
Which I think helps.
I'm sorry. Do you do any psychology? Do you act as a psychiatrist at all?
No, I don't have a master's in psych. No, but it's just, I was so close to finishing college when I got married many, many, many years ago, that it was the closest degree for me to finish. And I loved all my like psych classes, my sociology classes, and I just found it very interesting. I'd always been a person that kind of sat back and was quiet and studied the room and watched people. So I think it just was very natural thing for me to do, just to get that psych degree. And then I didn't know where I was going to go with that, because I started out pre-law. I wanted to be an attorney.
Wow. So
and then I was bored to tears in the bored to tears.
I just got a phone call in the middle of the interview. People, anyway.
That's okay.
Man, I'm never this popular, but let me move that too, since I'm very popular. So, So do you having a psychology degree, and I realize this is a little off topic, but that's how I do it. Is hypnotherapy real? Can people be hypnotized?
I think so. Yeah, I do. I do. And I know we have some horror movies out that are doing things like that now. What was that, Hypnotic, that just came out? I watched that. It's pretty interesting. I absolutely believe in it. I think there's a lot of scammers out there, just trying to make money doing it. But I absolutely think it's something that it can be done.
And do you believe then? Do you believe in ghosts?
Oh, yeah. Being from where I'm from, this town I'm from, yeah, absolutely. A
You
lot of history here.
you mean because it's a ghost town?
Oh, well, we have Native American burial grounds here. This is an area where slavery was a thing. I can tell you, growing up in this town when I was a kid, in our library, and I'm so sorry for this to everyone out there, but we had pictures of hangings and things like that. Seriously.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. That all of that stuff is no longer there. That library is no longer there. It's a different library, but we used to do a tour, and that was part of our history here. Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, my great grandmother, who was in her 90s, who looked like a Native American woman who had the big braids, I would help her braid, 12 kids, and came in a wagon, and she told me stories of these things, when she was a kid.
Wow.
So there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on here. Yeah.
So okay.
So I grew up seeing some crazy things
Okay.
and hearing crazy things. So I 100% believe in ghosts.
And can the Ouija board contact them?
Don't get me started on Ouija boards. They freak me out.
The Ouija board is a thing. It's real in your town, like, because I mean it's at Target, right? So if I want to go buy one, it's at Target. But you guys don't have Target there, probably. So like I'm saying, like in your
No, we're not that country. No, we're just an hour from Dallas.
only
Like an hour from Oklahoma City. We're like right in the middle of two big cities. But no, I mean I have a story from when I was a kid, and one of my best friends lived across the street from the school, and I would go over to her house after school, and she got her hands on this was an old Ouija board. I don't know where the hell this came from. This is before we even heard things about this, or what was it, which board, like all the movies and stuff. And she was just like, oh, I heard about this and I found this, and like my grandfather had it, or some crazy story. And we had a really messed up experience. And what the crazy thing that's freaked me out most of my life is out of that room, I'm the only one that ran out of the room terrified. All the other people in the room had really bad things happen to them in their teenage years. And I was the only one that ran out of the room. So all of that stuff like completely freaks me out. Completely scares the hell out of me.
I had bad things happen in my teenage years. Maybe I was exposed to a
Well,
Ouija board.
everybody did to a point, but this stuff was like another level bad,
Oh, right. Well, I mean, they had to grow up in that small town, so they were already at a bad start. Thank you for acknowledging that joke. So I do a lot of Texas humor. I do a lot of Florida humor. I do a lot of LA humor. To me, it's all the same joke. It's all the same joke. It's why would anyone live there?
Are you saying you were a bad teenager, Jason?
My mom watches this show, so we will not confirm or deny that. Yeah, I was a horrible teenager. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was awful. Oh, the worst. You would not want me as a kid. And my mom would come on and go, oh no, you were wonderful. It's not true. It's not true.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like the record holder of my family, but it's not. It's not about me.
Oh.
But yeah, I had a rough 20s. I'm pretty much once I got like to 40, that's when I like grew up. That's when I like stopped stuff. But anyway, so all of those hauntings, all of these crazy things. You're in a movie called Amityville Moon that's distributed by Lionsgate.
Yes.
So when you do a movie like Amityville, or Amityville themed, because I think it's a werewolf movie, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you do an Amityville themed, like, how does that work for you then? Like, are you tempted? Is it like, yo, we could be messing with
any other movie?
It's no. You're like, okay. So when we're making a movie about ghosts, yo, they're cool with it.
Yeah, well, the thing was too, we all believed the church we filmed at was haunted as well. So our director, Thomas Churchill, when he came in, he said, "Hello, spirits. We feel you. You know we're here. We know you're here. We respect you. We will be in and out soon as." I mean, every day started like that.
A man named Thomas Churchill filmed a movie in a church. That's pretty cool. Is that on purpose? And then so he went in and he gave. So
I didn't even think about
so
that. I mean, yeah,
so,
his nickname's Church.
so exorcism is a thing. Can people be can spirits be exorcised? Could you clear a building?
I believe in that too. Yes, I believe in that. I wouldn't want to be involved in one, but I totally believe in that. That's I think the show that scared the hell out of me as a kid and still freaks me out. You know, anything that has to do with like possession, like The Exorcist. You know, I mean that kind of stuff. Anything religion based freaks me out. So
So
yeah.
the Exorcist, because you play a lot of crazy, you're in a lot of crazy movies, and you're in like your list and list.
Yeah.
Please, people, please Google IMDb Sheri Davis. You're going to be blown away. But Debbie Storm, who was on our show, talked about how she was up for the lead role in The Exorcist and turned it down, obviously because of religious connotation.
Wow.
Would you have turned it down?
No, I would have done it.
What?
Sorry, my stock things are flying on my
Yeah, that's what I mean. Obviously, this is live TV. So, okay, so
I would have done it as an actress. Like I would have totally done it because I've done roles that I was freaked out about. Because the whole thing is, as an actress, I want to do anything that's going to test my ability, you know, or that's going to push me. And I'm sure you feel the same way. You know, I mean, it's a matter of, I don't want to be pigeonholed into like a certain, and I was in the beginning, you know, I was kind of the bimbo, the other woman, you know, the big boobs and the big hair and the Southern accent, you know, and just, you know, always drunk and everything I did, and, you know, that kind of thing. So
best
for
role
me,
ever.
I absolutely would have done, the more dramatic, the more twisted, the more disturbing, the more challenging. I am totally down to do it.
Would you be cool with your kid doing it?
I mean, not as a small child. I think if she were old enough to make the decision somewhat on her own, if she was comfortable with the content, then yes. But I can tell you, when my daughter, who's now in her 20s, was acting, that there were roles that came our way that were really, really violent, and, you know, like had like rape, and, you know, like there was this one that came to me where she was raped and then she went after, like, became a prostitute and was going to be killing people. And I was like, no way in hell is my daughter doing that, you know, because she was like 12 at the time.
Right.
You know, and I was like, no way in hell. And I've never heard of that movie getting made. But no, I think, you know, but I still feel like it's an individual choice for everyone what he or she is comfortable with. I'm a mama bear big time. I was very, very protective of my kids, and I still am, especially being a mom to two girls. You know, that's a whole nother thing as well. Being a single mom with two girls, you have to be that much more protective.
Sure. And they live in LA? They live here?
No, they're back here too.
Oh, okay. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
My youngest daughter's a senior here. So, yeah, so I moved her back out here with her dad about a year ago with COVID, because I was working all the time, and I was
Right.
gone on set, or I was working a COVID job, and I didn't want to expose her to the things that, you know, or to be alone a lot. So I moved her back here with her father, and that way she was around all of the family for the past year.
Right.
So she could finish school here.
I asked because I have a 17-year-old daughter. I have a 14-year-old son, you know, so I asked those, why, you know, are they growing up in LA? I know what it's like, you know, to have kids growing up over here.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I can't imagine growing up in LA. I can't, you know, I look back And I mean, when I was here, I hated growing. Oh, I can't wait to get away. You know, like I said, I was 17. I had an apartment in the town half an hour away, and was going back and forth doing sports and had a job, and you know, was on college track and whatever. But I knew I was like, the minute I graduated, I mean, I was completely gone. Like, I did not want to come back. But now, being an adult, looking back and having lived in LA and all the places I've lived all over the country, I'm so appreciative of the way I was raised.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I did the things you see on movies and television shows. Like, I grew up in rodeos. I grew up in country bars, you know.
I grew up in country
Dirt
bars. That's
tracks.
the greatest. I love that your parents, I grew up in country
literally
bars.
did. Well, my dad wasn't always a preacher. You know, he still plays music and that kind of thing. And
park the stroller
now he
next
does
to the
things like
jukebox
he goes
and
to the nurse. Oh yeah, like Sweet Home Alabama. There's a baby in the bar.
Yeah.
I was like, can so identify with
Right,
that.
right.
Not even kidding.
Exactly.
I mean, like, that movie reminds me a lot of my life. I mean, it really, really does. But yeah, you know, the things I did, you know, I raced anything I could race. You know, I was with the boys and all, you know, all cousins and younger brothers and uncles, and I was such a tomboy. So I mean, I went on trail rides with my dad. You know, rodeos, demolition derby. I remember seeing Evel Knievel when I was a little kid.
Oh, that's dope. How does that translate? How does that translate to your acting? Like, do you know, you said you play the Southern Bimbo a lot, but do you ever do anything where it's like, yo, I ride a dirt bike, or I can do any of my sort of own stunts from, you know, I can go to the rodeo, or, you know, I mean, not go to the rodeo, but like, could you do that in film? I mean, obviously anyone can go to a rodeo, but I mean, partake in it.
I want to. It's so crazy because I mentioned Thomas Churchill earlier. So when I still lived in Texas before I'd even moved to LA, I don't know how we got to know one another through social media, but I was like, dude, like I've ridden motorcycles like my whole life, like seriously my entire life. Like, and he was making a movie that was a bunch of biker chicks, you know, and I was like, I've got to be a part of this. And this is before anyone really knew me. I had done an indie film that was doing really well, and people were starting to reach out to me because of that. But I was supposed to be in that movie, and things did not work out, and I was not in that movie. And that's like my thing now. I'm like, okay, Thomas, you owe me a movie. Like, I need something where I'm riding a motorcycle.
Right.
So I'm always like Westerns. I'm always like I worked on a Western horror film this past year.
Awesome.
And I was like, how the hell was I not one of those girls on the horse who knows how to ride the horse and shoot the gun?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Is
so
that
my
stuff?
goal, honestly. Huh?
Is that stuff on your resume? Like, do you have it checked off? Like, you know, there's a little box on Actors Access or whatever that says, can you play with a bow and arrow, and can you do all that? You have that marked.
I can do all that. Yes, I can do all that. And I would love to do all that. And I have a film that I'm raising the funds for now. I optioned a script, and that's one of the things, you know, that I hope it's going to get shot, you know, late summer, early fall, maybe 2022. But that's the thing, like I really want to do. I want to be able to do those things in a film, and especially getting older, you know, before my body falls apart.
So let me ask you I want to ask you a little bit about your experience. You talked about COVID and that you were working a lot on set. I saw that you're listed as COVID compliance officer on some sets. So I talk a lot. I come home, I tell my wife, I go, oh, you know, there's the COVID compliance officer is the most hated guy on the set. Like, so he's worse than the other people, I think. So how does that play out for you? Are you the most hated person on the set? And what is the COVID compliance officer? For those who don't know, what is you know, who haven't been on a set maybe that has one, what does the COVID compliance officer do?
Okay, so a COVID compliance officer, depending on what level you're at, whether it is low budget indie or whether it is big budget Will Smith, King Richard, which I worked on, is COVID. So it really depends, but basically a COVID compliance officer, short version, is your job is to keep the cast and crew safe and healthy by following the guidelines that are in place to help the spread, you know, to help stop help the prevention and spread of COVID. That's short version.
Right.
Okay. So That means making sure we have all of the, everything to sanitize. And during a scene, we watch the scene. And if 2 actors or 3 actors or 5 actors are touching something between every take, we have to wipe it down. As a COVID compliance supervisor or health and safety supervisor, it's a whole nother level, which I had to do. And I did that on The Masked Singer, and I thought I was going to lose my mind. That's where we are setting up all of the testing with everyone, producers, anyone that delivers on our set, like every single person. And we are tracking all of the testing for everyone, and we're determining how often everyone needs to be tested and making sure everyone is tested before they come to set. And then we are also having to deal with contact tracing, where if anyone is positive, we now have to go through the proper channels of reporting, and do we shut down? And then we have to, again, contact tracing, how many people did they possibly expose? It's a lot.
So how many times on The Masked Singer are they testing? Because, when I was on set, it's every 2 days. But how often were they testing at Masked Singer? Every day?
It depends. No, it depends on what department they were in, and what zone they would be in. You have the zones. So zone A, I do it like circles, because it's kind of what it is. So your inner circle, your director, your actors who don't have their mask on, your camera. I mean, all of the people that are directly in that inner circle, your zone A. So it determines by what zone you're in, how many times a week you test. Now your actors, obviously, they're the ones taking their mask off. The makeup people are around them without their mask on. So those people are definitely getting tested. Usually those are my 3-time-a-week people.
Right.
So
That's
it's like
right.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
That would be me, whatever. Right? Yeah.
And then, I worked on a crime show, and my director, he was never in zone A. He was way back from the monitor. He was never even right there. So there were shows like that where, they only get tested once a week. So it just varies. And it also varies depending on what studio is. Fox, their rules and protocol is different than Warner Brothers or Warner Media. So it varies. But I'm the most loved and the most hated on a set, honestly.
Right.
I will tell you, I prefer working COVID on a big budget project, because I don't get the respect on the low budget projects that I get on the big budget projects. Because on low budget, I'm taking more of their budget to be there, because maybe they've got one named actor, and so they want to say, oh, we have a nurse and she's a COVID compliance officer, but they don't really respect you.
Right.
You're just there by name. And I've done those a handful of times, and I'm to the point now that I won't do that again unless I know someone is going to respect me and going to respect the rules. Because for instance, King Richard, that's out, that was the first thing I worked on as COVID, and as COVID team. And, we shut that film down 3 times.
Wow. Because of how bad Will Smith was.
But this was
because of Will Smith's act. Oh, you mean because of COVID, right? Because of the I'm sorry, I got distracted. I thought it was because of Will Smith.
Yeah, I was not the lead person on it. I was on the testing team on that one. But I'm just saying, because at that time people were not respecting, LA. This is the beginning. This is one of the first films to open back up. And it was hard. We didn't know what we were doing. Some people were freaked out. Others weren't wearing a mask, would not wear a mask for anything. So in LA, it's a very different world than like me being down here in Texas. I don't want to leave my house. Like, no one wears a mask here. And in LA, everybody's pretty good about, the precautions and the rules and things like that. And everyone has their own beliefs. I don't even want to get into that. But the whole thing with COVID was, I did have people, there was a gentleman who the project got shut down because he would come and cough in our faces every day and tell us how stupid we were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that, what, I mean, some people are out of their pocket. Yeah.
Lot. Yeah, I dealt with lot on that shoot. But so on a big budget shoot, the producers show us respect. They have hired us for a reason. They don't have a medical background. They don't have all the training we have in COVID. So I'm very, very well respected on those sets, with the exceptions of maybe a couple of people.
I'll say that, I've noticed
on the low budget, no.
Sorry, it happens with the audio doing this live. Sometimes we talk over each other, but I noticed that on the set
It's
that
okay.
the compliance officer is a more respected person. I mean, he's almost basically, or the person who is, it was a he. It's been a guy every time I've had one, so forgive me saying he, but that person is like
Right.
basically in charge because they can shut it down. So and I think
Right.
maybe they're not as nice as you, but the guys I've always had have walked around like they know they can shut it down. Like, oh yeah, well
Yeah.
oh yeah, get your mask on. Well, I'll shut it down. I'll shut it down.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Yeah. I think and that's where we can get into just the differences in a male and a female in this business all the way around. I mean, as a woman, we're not always treated with the same respect. I mean, we're not. I would love to say we are, but we're not. So, I mean, my delivery has been very nice. Like, hey, pull the mask over your nose, please. Thank you.
right,
And then we
right,
got through to this one part where it became a joke, and we made these signs, that had a mask below the nose that we had printed, and we would make little, things we would hold them up, and they said, "Don't be a mask hole." And so then I
right.
had my whole team walk around, and we would be like, because we were so tired of repeating ourselves to some of the people that would not keep their mask up.
Yeah. Well,
So
South Park
yeah,
called the people
COVID's been
they
fun.
South Park said they were wearing chin diapers. The people who so whenever I see it, whenever I see somebody now, I go, oh, a chin diaper? Like, why are you wearing a chin diaper? Like,
Chin diapers, yeah.
so
Yeah.
we're
Well,
running out of
we call
time.
them the COVID people like me. We call them mask holes.
The mask holes, right? Because they're a problem for
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
So let's talk. You have a lot of
Yeah.
stuff coming up, and we don't have a whole lot more time as exciting as it's been. But I wanted to talk about Bermuda Island. Is that something you have coming up? I think that was one I saw that you're currently working on or just wrapped. What can you tell us about that?
I just got back from working on that in Puerto Rico. Yeah. So I flew straight from Puerto Rico to Texas because my mom was getting worse. I was supposed to go back to LA. But yeah, we filmed on this beautiful little island called Vieques. And it was really cool. There were wild horses roaming all over the island. The island's like 21 miles by like 3 to 4 miles. So we rode around on golf carts all over the island. It was absolutely beautiful. Majority of the movie was filmed there, and then the last couple of days were filmed in San Juan, over by San Juan, kind of, so on the main island. But it was cool. I mean, you had to take a ferry or a little private plane or yacht to get to the island. So some of us, we all came together, crew, and because I was actually crew and cast on that. So I
Right.
came early and had a few days to enjoy it before we started filming. So the producers, the Mahals, rented a yacht. So we got to have a little bit of a party coming over with all of our equipment, all the, so that was cool. And then we had nice Airbnbs and, all the people on the island treated us very well, but it was cool. Like part of it was shot where they shot Lord of the Flies.
Oh wow. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So you said you had
Yeah.
an Airbnb.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful.
We're having audio issues again, but we're almost done, so I don't want to
Okay.
mess with it. But so you mentioned you had a beautiful Airbnb. That's amazing. That's really cool. Have you ever stayed in a seedy motel, like maybe a clown motel?
I didn't stay in that motel. I stayed in an Airbnb.
You didn't stay in that motel. Did but you have been to
Hell
that
no, I
motel,
didn't
have you
stay in
not?
that motel. Yeah, I shot a film there.
You did. And was it cool?
I don't know. I'm not really into clowns, like clowns aren't my thing. So I mean, I loved my role because I was like a military person, military, like a little bit of a badass. So I love that part of it. But there's so many clown movies, and I know some people are just obsessed and freaked out and scared of clowns, but I don't know. I don't get it. Like clowns to me, the only thing I thought of was like rodeo clowns, like, so I don't know.
Right.
it was cool. You know, when we shot Nelson Ghost Town in Boulder or whatever, like that was cool. The caves and the Nelson Ghost Town, that part of it was cool. The vibe out there, where Clown Motel was, what was the name of the town? I can't even remember, but like the vibe there was weird. You know, it was like we were stuck in this weird, I don't know, because there was nothing out there.
I can't imagine that the vibe at the Clown Motel was weird. I can't imagine why that would be. But so
it was, and then having that cemetery, and you're reading the stones, and it's the headstones, and there's like all these like mining accidents and little kids, and you're reading it, and you're just like, I don't even want to be in this town. Like this whole town is like haunted. There's like nothing there. Like we were trying to get food there, and everything, there was like 3 gas stations and everything closed. Like we couldn't even get food. I mean, it was weird.
Well, wasn't there a weird shop where a clown sold fried chicken that wasn't really chicken? It was probably some other tourist. Wasn't there one of those?
Not that I know of.
Oh, that's always the best place to go at a roadside attraction. I was talking about House of a Thousand Corpses, but
I don't know.
yeah.
It was just in the middle of nowhere. So part of it was in Tonopah, Nevada, where the Clown Motel is. And that was weird. And then the part in Boulder that, was like Nelson Ghost Town and the caves and all that, that part was really, really cool. And that was Eileen Dietz, one of my friends, Eileen Dietz, too, who was, I think, was she like Linda Blair's double or something for Exorcist? What was I always get it mixed up. What exactly?
I know the name, right? I'm not sure.
She was there, and she's involved in that. I've done a few films with her, and she's always very pleasant and very sweet. So that was cool.
So tell us.
But yeah, Bermuda Island is going to be amazing.
And what about Arena Wars? And then also, so talk about Arena Wars a little bit, and then tell us what you have coming up, or what you want to promote, like what you're excited about.
Okay, so Arena Wars, it's very kind of Hunger Games is kind of what it reminds me of a little bit. So my character, I am the host of the Arena Wars. So the concept is there are these prisoners, and they can fight, and if they win, they fight these chemically warfare type characters who are human, but they've got these crazy cool costumes on, and basically they're forced to fight, and if they win, then they win their freedom, but no one has ever won their freedom. But the concept is that there is someone in there that is innocent, and he basically kind of becomes a hero to the people, and just changes everything. It's got a great cast. I'm an over the top, very Hunger Games, what's her name, Effie or whatever type character. I've got cool hair, crazy costumes. That was really cool. Same producers as and cinematographer for as Bermuda Island and Arena Wars are both by Sonny and Michael Mahal. So that's great.
Nice.
But yeah, lots of good things coming out in 2022. I'm excited, and everything I'm working on is just getting bigger and bigger, and which is really exciting. I thought and the thing is, like, I don't know about you, like, I know a lot of actors want to get into television. I started out doing a little bit of television. I would love to get back to it a little, but my love is really film. I mean, that's what has my heart. I love the process of, from the script, the minute I read a script, I can envision characters, I can envision everything, and that's what's cool working crew, as well as I see the whole entire process. And so I love the whole process. That's why I do work crew, not just COVID, but I've directed a couple of films, and I love everything about it. So yes, I can go in and like audition for 911, American Horror Story, some of the things I've auditioned for, and I love it. And it would be great to see myself in those with those amazing actors, those iconic actors. But at the same time, I'm pretty happy doing what I'm doing, because I love film so much, and the people that I work with love it as much as I do, if not more. They're very passionate about it.
It's funny because I think everybody wants a series. I think most actors are trying to land a series, and I love making movies personally, and I've never been in a Western. I'm dying to be in a Western.
Yeah.
I'm always the bad guy in a suit, but I want to be the bad guy in a
real Western.
In a Western. Right, but I only want to be on TV so that way when people go, well, what have you done that I've seen? And I can go, God, don't you watch television? Like, I just want to say that to
I
somebody.
know,
Don't you watch
right? That's
television?
kind of how
Like,
it is.
I'm on TV, right? Like that's, but because they don't accept you until you've done something they've heard of, and it's, it doesn't matter what I've done. They don't care. I go, well, I've done these advertisements for Marvel and all this crap. And they go, oh, that's great. But are you on
Right.
Netflix? Yeah. So,
And that's what's so funny, because think about it. You said you're in your 40s or turn 40 or whatever. It used to be these were movie stars and television stars. It used to kind of be divided, and then things kind of changed. Our movie stars started being on television, our television stars started being in movies. And I feel like it really changed all of that. But yes, I agree with you completely. Like, are you in a series? Are you a recurring? That
right.
kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I don't, and there was a time that, I'll tell you, my dream role would be to be in Yellowstone. Like,
The show, right.
hands down, I'm done. I've done what I wanted to do. I've been in Yellowstone, 1883, which has been filming in Texas. I could have got on working COVID team on that. And I was like, nope, I want to be on it or not involved. Like, I don't want to go in and people see me crew as a crew
Right.
person. And then,
Because that's how they see
sometime
you.
down the road, right. Exactly. So I did not go on as crew. Plus I was, filming Bermuda Island in Puerto Rico. And there are times you've got to make a choice. And,
Right.
and, maybe some people would have chose, to go work crew on that, but I kind of get burned out. Crew is long hours. Crew is for COVID. Or set medic. I have pre-call. So my pre-call is 30 minutes to an hour before everyone else's call. Mm-hmm. With the second AD and whoever else has pre-call. So
right.
Pre-call to tell lights out, I'm on set. So those are really, really long hours. And in reality, most of the time I would make more money going and working a nursing shift at the hospital than I'd make.
Yeah. Yeah. People don't understand that either. They think you get paid a whole bunch. And I go, dude, I go, you don't understand. If I wanted to make money, I would go back to my retail that I was used to do. I'm a salesman. I would do that if I wanted to make money. I mean, this isn't about money.
I was a medical device and pharmaceutical rep.
Yeah. You're going to make a ton of money.
I was
right.
a medical device and pharmaceutical. I made a ton of money. Ton of money. And left it, and left it. And people think that, like you said, people that don't know, they think, oh my God, you must make so much money and you live in this big house in Malibu. And, and I'm
right.
like, oh, you have no idea. Like,
you have no idea.
At all. I can make more money, like, being a full-time nurse again. Like,
yeah.
most of the time, there are exceptions, but also, like, when you get those big ones and you get those residual checks, and things like that, but unless they're like big time, it's not happening.
Yeah, but that's why you want to be on television, is so you can land one of those residual checks, and then that's the whole reason. It's not just to go, God, don't you watch TV? Right. To people. So tell the people where they can find you. Obviously, you've been in so many films, I could talk all day, but tell the people where can they find you if they want to give you this great dirt bike role or awesome horse riding role or sword fighting, gunslinging. Where can they find you?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm very easily accessible. I answer everything myself, unless I'm on a set or in an area that's not getting reception. Everything is branded under my name, which is very easy. It's Sheri Davis. It's spelled a little differently. It's Sheri, so one R-I. I'm on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, I'm not on very often, but Facebook and Instagram, I answer all of my messages. My manager is Matt Chasen. Matt's marketing. He's easy to find and contact. He's great. I've been with Matt for years. So, I mean, I'm easy to reach. Like I said, most people contact me through Facebook because that's the one that's just, I have my messenger where if I get a message, it goes off unless I'm on a set. So, yeah. And,
awesome.
And yes, that's what I need. I need something riding a horse or riding a motorcycle or doing something crazy like that. And maybe we can work on a Western because I got a few scripts. We're just in development right now on getting those things funded.
I love it. I love it. And that would be great. That'd be fantastic. Thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate your time, taking it out. And, you know, God bless your mother. We hope speedy recovery to her, you know, and to everybody out there who's suffering from cancer. You guys, thank you. One more thing I want to, before I let you go, let me give you a final thought here. Well, actually for the audience, you know, I talked about John Lennon a little bit, and, you know, it's an anniversary of John Lennon's death, but John Lennon, folks, was asked, what's the greatest lyric he ever wrote? And he said, that's easy. And he said, all you need is love. That's the greatest thing he ever wrote. So folks, with the words of John Lennon, Sheri Davis, thank you. You've been wonderful. We'll see you next week, guys. Coffee Breaks Thursdays with Jason Zlatkus. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.